Hi, everyone. You guys are so on time. Hello. I did want to let you guys know as you're logging in that I have this set to record in progress. I wanted to make sure that anyone who wasn't able to meet so last minute would be able to come back and join us virtually. So we'll be sending out a link to this video afterwards. I think it will be today, but if not, it'll be first thing on Monday. I hope everyone is well. I'll give everyone just a few minutes to join in. You'll be able to group chat in the chat. So if you wanted to put your organization's name and I haven't met you yet, I'd love to see who you are and what the amazing things you're doing in our community. I'll maybe give 2 or 3 minutes extra before we get started just to give everyone a few minutes. Some of you might have gotten emails from me this morning. Hi, thank you for joining us. I'm sure you got a message, but just so you know, I am recording this call just to make sure we can share that with individuals who maybe weren't able to make it so last minute. Oh, hi. I did email a few of you. I see that. I'll probably give us until maybe 12:03 to give folks just a few minutes to get logged in, and then we'll get started. I want to be cognizant of your time. Hi there. It is afternoon. Just barely. Hi there. I just emailed you at Autism Tennessee. You probably just got my email. Give us maybe one more minute and then we'll get started. I know sometimes Zoom is finicky and tells you need to update right as you're trying to log into a meeting. And just so, while we're waiting for the last few to join us, if you wanted to put your LinkedIn bio or if you have a LinkedIn in the chat, I'll follow you. And especially if your organization has a LinkedIn. And GivingMatters' LinkedIn tends to share organizations they find. So if you're wanting the GivingMatters to share your information, feel free to put a link in the chat and I'll make sure to write down that information and get us following you. Hi, Dexter. All right, I think we've given a few minutes enough time. So I wanted to let you know, I'm Nicole Rose. You'll probably hear from me a lot if you start initiating your profile on GivingMatters. I want you to know that you can email me any question, and if I don't know the answer, I'll try to connect you with someone who does. I sometimes know the answer, especially when it has to do with GivingMatters. I think everyone in this group was in the village call on Wednesday, but just in case you weren't, I'll do a little really brief intro about myself. I started on the GivingMatters.com team because I actually worked at a nonprofit direct service provider in our community. They supported children on the autism spectrum. And when they closed their doors in 2016, the GivingMatters.com coach remembered me and remembered my questions, many questions, and snatched me up and said, I think it would be really neat to have a small or medium-sized organization leader supporting our community's nonprofits, since I ran our GivingMatters.com profile there and helped with our big payback campaign. So I come with some experience and a little bit of learned empathy, I think, in regards to how stretched thin we may be as nonprofit professionals. Oh, thank you, Rosalind. So I wanted to give you that heads up and know that I have had to teach myself how to write a budget and many other things. So there is no judgment if you ever don't know what something is we're asking for. Please ask. If I don't know something, I'm going to ask because I feel like we're all kind of learning together and and we can make each other better. So so that is that. So one, I feel like to get started. Oh, we just got started, so you haven't missed a whole lot, other than I am recording this session so that other folks who maybe weren't able to come so last minute are able to come, are able to watch afterwards. I do feel like it would be best to start with an overview of GivingMatters.com, so I'm going to share my screen just so you can see the site. So give me 1 second while I do that. I have quite a few tabs open, and that's just to kind of help guide us along and not so you don't have to look at my face. It's pretty boring. But this is our site. You can visit it anytime by typing in GivingMatters.com. And just in case anyone doesn't know what Giving Matters is, I feel like it would be good to just kind of give you a brief overview of that. GivingMatters.com is an online database of Middle Tennessee nonprofits. We profile nearly 2,000 organizations in Middle Tennessee, and organizations are able to, hello, we just got started, you haven't missed much, but if you need to roll background with questions, just let me know. And I can't, here, I'm gonna see if I can put the chat on just so I make sure I don't miss anybody's messages. If you have any questions while I'm chatting as well, feel free to put them in the chat and you don't have to worry about interrupting me. So anyways, GivingMatters.com was started by kind of in a collaboration of all of our foundation partners. It was to solve the problem of understanding what organizations are serving our community, what services they're providing, where are gaps, and really just inform all of our foundations to make better grant making decisions. I think that it's changed a little over the years. It started in a binder and then it made its way to a website when there were too many binders to count. It's kind of transitioned as the 20 years have passed. It definitely has remained to be a due diligence tool. A lot of nonprofits can use it as a checklist to kind of guide them in their growth and what things they should be thinking about. But as we've gotten older, we've also started to think of it as more of a partnership with nonprofits and less as we're oversight. We're watching you and making sure you're doing all the things. And so we're definitely trying to add more benefits to nonprofits. And I think one that really has been helpful to nonprofits is that it is because it's a grant making tool for our foundation partners, they're not having to ask you to answer questions over and over and over again throughout the year in your grant applications, because they can get that information from GivingMatters. So when you apply for a grant, your application's questions should be significantly reduced. And the reason for that is because many of our foundation partners will reach out to me with a list of their applicants. I will tag in the back end of our site each applicant, and I will pull a report, an Excel sheet report of all of the data fields that they're wanting from our site so that they don't have to ask you that question. We put the workload of that on us, and then you can focus on the important work that you do. Does anybody have any questions before I move on? I want to make sure I give time for that. I can't see you, so I hope you're good. All right, I don't think so. So before the call today, I think many of you probably got an email from me. Not all of you did. If you didn't have because I often find that when there is some turnover in organizations, some organizations don't know that they already have a Giving Matters profile and they just need to update it. So the individuals of you that do have a profile, I went through the entire list of participants today. I found if anyone had a profile, I sent you an email with a login information and what items we need in order to get your profile back up to date. And if you have any questions once looking that over, you just let me know. I'm here to support you in that help, with that help. And you'll have a little more time to get your things in because you've already initiated your profile. But for everyone else, I will be emailing you after this call today with the next steps about how to initiate a profile. But before I do that, I would like to show you kind of what to expect so you know how that works. So when I email you, that email will include what I call the nonprofit information form. It's going to be linked right in the email, and you can just click on it and it will upload, and you can print it out and write on it or type in it, whichever you prefer. And this form will kind of guide you through all the things we need to initiate a profile for your team. So it's really, I think it's self-explanatory, but please stop me and ask questions if you don't understand any of the things that we need here, or you just need clarification, because I'm here to help. I didn't know what some of these things were when I started. So we just really need the basics of your organization, your name, your mailing address, your executive director's name. Oh, I see a message here. Let me put that back on. Oh, I will check into that for you, okay? We'll check before we leave today so we can make sure we get that set for you. We have the organization's name, year of corporation, tax ID number, your mission statement, and then these are the documents I need you to send me. That is going to be your IRS letter of determination, your charitable solicitations permit, your current organizational budget, and that will need to include both projected revenues and expenses. However, some organizations, they don't have that, some do. If you don't have one of those yet, and you want a super simple template that meets the minimum requirements, we've linked a template here, and it will just download right to your computer. It's a Word document, super easy to use, but please let me know if you're having trouble accessing it. And then we'll need your most recent 3 years of 990s. However, if you haven't been operating for 3 years, know that we can't get those from you because you don't have them. So just send me what you have. And then we also need your 3 years of audited financials, if applicable. And that means if you are an organization that are required to do that, which means you're over 500K in revenue minus private foundations, then you would send me those. If not, just disregard. And then a signed and dated acknowledgement form, which is linked right here. That just kind of goes over what there is to expect on the profile. Is there any questions in regards to the initiation pieces? I will say there are a few things here that are helpful to just know, and many of you probably already know, but just in case anyone doesn't know, this profile, if you need guidance, the state of Tennessee recently changed their charitable solicitations permit, the way you receive those, and now it's all online, and it seems to be going a lot faster now that they've switched it to online. I linked that here. If you haven't got your permit yet this year, or they changed that in October, so you'll probably need to set up an account. But there are I really like them, really good how to set up account and how to submit a filing, both written instructions and videos on how to do that on their website. And after our call today, if you're unable to find that, I'd be happy to send you that link. That's one thing that is super helpful. And then if you're having trouble finding like letters of determination or your 990 e-postcards or your E990s, also feel free to reach out to me. Sometimes I'm able to sleuth and find those for you. Usually I use the IRS website, or I can sometimes find them on GuideStar, but usually you have them if they're on GuideStar because you uploaded them. So I just know that I'm here to help you with that nonprofit info form if you're hitting any hurdles and you want to get moving on that. This form and these documents, when you look at for many of you are here because you want to submit a CFMT grant application. So when you look here, I didn't pull that up, but I can real quick. When you look at the grant guidelines, you're going to see here, you're going to see in these grant guidelines that it says that the profile initiation process, which is these documents in this form that you're going to need to send in to me, is due on July 14th. but we met with you guys on Wednesday and we thought it's really not kind to be like, hey, we just opened up our grants process and here's all the great things we're going to do. And by the way, you're not eligible, because that would just not be kind. So we extended the deadline for all village members to initiate their profile until next Wednesday. So there is a little bit of a time crunch, but do know I'm here to support you. Please email me if you have any questions. If you want to send in some of your forms, but you don't have the rest yet, feel free to do that. We start a file for each organization, and that'll let us look over what forms you're sending in and like give feedback if there's rarely any issues. Everyone knows what most of the forms are, but if for some reason I needed a little bit more detail in a form, I'll send back some feedback and that'll give you more time to respond to that feedback if you don't wait until all of your items are together. That part is really pretty self-explanatory with the form, but reach out if you need anything more. But as I was stating, it is a two-part process to get your GivingMatters profile launched. The first is this profile initiation piece, and we have that separated for you so that we can kind of build your profile for you and kind of give you some guidelines before you have to log in and look at it yourself. It'll just reduce your workload if we do that part. So that's what we do. But once you send these in, I will create your profile. And I'm going to double check application. Yes, it's going to be due this form with all these pieces will be due next Wednesday, which I think is the 21st, but let me double check. When I'm on Zoom, I can't pull up my calendar. So let me just double check. No, it's the 26th. So Wednesday, the 26th, this piece will be due. And then the next steps will be that I will send you. Do we have to resubmit this information if we already have a profile? No, you do not. If you already have a profile, you've already done this step and you have until the application deadline to complete any updates you need to have. And I probably already emailed you what items we need. Yes, I did for you. So you'll have until August 15th to finish your profile and the application. Yeah, perfect. And if you have any questions about those changes or items needed, just let me know. But for those who haven't initiated a profile, do know that I will be emailing you once you send me these documents in your info form with next steps. And in that email, it will include your email, your login, which is going to be your email address that you've provided to me, and a way to set a password. You'll get that information from our platform provider and they'll have you set a password, and then kind of like details about next steps. And in that will be our required fields checklist. Now I'm going to pull this up, but I don't want you to be like, oh my gosh, that's a lot, because most of it you've already done on the info form. We just really want you to check our work, okay? So this is the required fields checklist. So you'll log in at givingmatters.com as a nonprofit, which I'm going to show you that in just a minute. And you'll go through the required fields checklist. And this part is due by August 15th. So along with your grant application, you'll have to turn this in. But just know that usually that's not done at the same time. So it does seem like a lot the first time, but afterwards you just have to update a few things and it will really significantly reduce your workload in the future. All of the items that are starred, you already are going to have turned in to me. It's because they're as part of the nonprofit info form. So I'll have already filled out all those fields for you. So let me show you what that process looks like and which things you're going to have to kind of look at. So here, actually, I logged in as you, but I want to show you from the beginning. So here we go. So go to givingmatters.com. This is what it looks like when you're here. And then you're going to hit login and nonprofit when you have your login information. And then you have to hit login again. And you use your username, which is going to be your email, and your password. But if you forgot your password at any time or you want to reset it, you can hit this forgot your password link here and it'll let you reset your password. I'm going to log in as one of you. And this is pretty much what it looks like when you log in, except for yours will say your organization's name there and not givingmatters.com. It looks like a lot. This dashboard just has tools for you. So if I will send you all these in email, but at any time you can't find one, they're probably here in this dashboard. But know that the required fields checklist and user guide will come with you. And really all you need to know is if you click this My CFMT profile button right here, this is where you update your profile, and all of the tabs that are listed on this required fields checklist are listed in order of those tabs. So like here, to go back here, right here. So you can see, and then all the items on there are listed in order of where they are on each tab. So all of this tab, the general information tab, all the required fields will already be completed for you, but you can check my work because I'm a human and make mistakes. So feel free to check what I've entered there. I'm kind of a perfectionist, but I still make mistakes. So feel free to check my work there. There are additional fields in some of the categories and tabs. So, but don't feel like you're going to be penalized there at all for not filling in all those things. We want you to think of it as takes time in the future to do it, but these are the required fields that all of our funders are using. And if you want to build more upon that, you can, but it is not required and will not reflect poorly upon you if you don't have those fields filled in. So know that that's just, if you want to do more and have a more robust profile in the future, feel free. But right now, just worry about the required fields. So this tab will already be done for you. This tab will also already be done for Oh, did I lose somebody? Sorry, guys. This will be recorded too, so if you missed anything, we'll be sending it out to you. This tab will already be done for you, but the first tab really that is on this checklist that will not be completed for you is your programs tab. And I want to make sure I pay special attention to that for you because I know that our grants team uses this tab the most. So I want to give you like some tips. So when you create a new program in here, you only have to have one. Sometimes organizations ask me, what do you mean by programs? And I'm sure most of you know what that means, but just in case, I want to make sure I answer every question. Really just what services do you provide to our community? And that can be grouped in bulk depending on how your organization runs. But the required fields that we need here are just your program, your budget, and a description, and then what program area is served, and that can be a zip code or a city depending on what work population you serve. So those are that. But however, I know our grant teams tend to use this page the most, and the ones that I see them being like, oh, I love that about them. What they do differently than other organizations is sometimes if you have collaborative partners, they like to see what that looks like in the program description. So that helps you if you do have collaborative partners, and also telling the story of what your service looks like from the moment you meet the person you're serving or the individual you're serving to the end of your services, what that timeline looks like. So it kind of gives you an idea of what you're doing in our community. And then you will not be penalized for it. But if you wanted to have to highlight a little bit more, some individuals put examples of program success, and that blank, they sometimes tell a story of an individual they serve. So it kind of gives a clearer picture of what you're doing. This probably is the most used by our team. So I just wanted to give a little extra love there. And that field is not done yet. And then under governance here, I went too far. Here we go. Under governance, there's a lot of tabs here. Not all of them are required, but we're really just going to put your board chair's name and the term limits. If you don't have a co-chair, you leave that blank, but it's not a required field anyway. And then there's some details in regards to your board breakdown, gender and ethnicity. And then I want to point this out because sometimes people miss it. The way the governance tab is, it's silly. I didn't set it up this way, but the way the governance tab is set up is there's a basic info tab, which you'll see how it's set up here. But there's also this governance details tab, which you'll put your board members' names on. So you just want to make sure you can click down to that and find and add your board members. We require you have at least 3. So if you put your board members here, it's just first and last name. There are places to put other kinds of boards. You're welcome to do that. It's not required. I don't know any foundation partner that is using that, but it might be helpful if you're wanting to have that information there. And then we'll go back up. Oh, to get out of this, I click on my name, which is not very clear, but it is in the user guide. So that section isn't done for you. And the only other section that isn't done for you is the management tab. You'll just push edit. You're going to put your executive director's name here. One thing to note, your executive director, some organizations just run with an all volunteer board. If you want, you can put your executive director as not applicable for these fields that are required. Some individuals put their board president there if they're kind of acting as the executive director. That's okay too. That's really up to your team. We have no preference either way. I do see more organizations putting their board president when they don't have an acting running executive director, and then kind of clarifying that role here in this space. But you're welcome to do whatever you'd like in regards to that. There are only a few required fields on this section. I know a lot of organizations use these organization policy and procedures as kind of a checklist to kind of, which one are we going to work on this year? Let's have a goal of doing a whistleblower policy this year, or a document discretion policy this year. So this section specifically, I think a lot of organizations use as kind of like a guide, but there isn't a whole lot of details on this page that are really required. And this has extra, but there's nothing on it that's required, so you can just ignore it if you like. And then when we build your profile, all the financial details will already be done, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you wanted to look over them, the basic info is going to be here, and then your financial details are going to be here. I'll create this for you from the budget you give me, and then you'll have 990s, but you can't see them on ours because we don't have any on GivingMatters. But we go over each 990 and extrapolate data from that, depending. Oh, did I just freeze? Did anyone else see me freeze? Because I came in backtrack. Okay, somebody told me I froze, but okay, I think it might have just been you. Okay, oh, I did freeze. Okay, if you would like, you can either tell me in the video or tell me in the chat, where did I miss? And I'd be happy to back up. Okay. Perhaps we'll just say, I think probably it wasn't long because I didn't see it. So maybe it's just the beginning of the financials tab, unless I hear otherwise. But all other information after management, we will already have filled out from your nonprofit info form. So really, there's just a few pieces that are required fields that are going to need to be filled out. And that part of your profile is going to be due on August 15th, the same day as the grant application is due. Let's see. And here, just kind of, I think I pulled that up already, didn't I? You will receive a user guide on how to use this, but you'll also receive this video. So if you need if the video is more your thing, you can follow along with me and just pause along the way. I might even try to figure out how to timestamp it for the different tabs before we share it with you in YouTube. So hopefully that'll kind of save you some time. But if you have any questions about that process, you can reach out to me. I will want you, the email will also say it, but I'll reiterate. Please email me when you think you're finished with your required fields checklist, as I will go back through your profile and I'll catch anything you missed. And if you email me before the deadline, then I will be able to give you more time to fix those things if there was anything missed. But I think since you're on this call, you probably catch all the things. But just email me. I'll check you out, and I'll give you an updated required fields checklist list in an email, and you'll know where to focus on next. I think, see what else I have. Oh, one thing to note, I want to make sure I even put this, don't forget this. I did forget it. So one thing to note, I used to do this all the time and it would drive me, I'll be so upset. But when you hit edit, if you edit something in one of these sections or add anything in one of these sections, you're going to want to hit at the bottom of the page, the save button before you move to the next tab, or you will lose all your work. And there's one other little sneaky trick. If there's a required field on that page and you filled out everything and then you go to hit save and it doesn't seem like it's letting you save, you're probably missing a required field. And if you just scroll back up, that required field will be in red. So it'll let you know this is the one you missed. So if you're wanting to like kind of work at a different spot, you can like put an X or a 0 in that field and come back to it, or you can fill that field in now. Then, so just know that you're going to want to hit save before you hit to the next tab, or you'll lose your work. And I don't want that to happen to you. I'll feel really bad. And then, okay, I think that's it really in regards to profile initiation, but I did have some questions. Most of them were all the same question, and you all teach me so much. So I'm so glad there's a few of you that asked this question, because I've already kind of shared that insight with our grants teams. As you know, the Jumpstart program that Michael talked about at the Village information session on Wednesday, is new. It's a pilot program, and in the past we haven't, only a few times, supported new organizations in this way, and so we're still learning. And one of the questions you all asked me is about fiscal sponsorships. So I think that's important to kind of go over that. And that wasn't something that was included in our grant guidelines. So I'm so glad that you have talked to me about that. Okay, so in regards to fiscal sponsorships, if you're a fiscally sponsored organization, you're going to want, when you send me your nonprofit info form, you're going to want to have a letter from your fiscal sponsor saying that you're a fiscally sponsored organization, and with their IRS letter, and we'll use many of their IRS documents until, and whatever you don't have, we'll use their stuff. Especially if they're on GivingMatters, we can pull some of their things for you. So know that you can be on GivingMatters and be a fiscally sponsored organization. We just need that extra piece. We don't expect you to have a permit, because you're running under their permit. You're also running under their IRS letter. So we can pull that if they have a GivingMatters profile and their 990s and audits and all that. The only thing that you will want to have for your organization is your own budget that includes projected revenues and expenses. And as a reminder, there is a template here available for you. So if you don't have that, that is something that you could use. But there's one caveat that I want you to know before you do all this work, creating a profile. And that is on our grant guidelines as they're written today. Organizations can only apply for our CFMT grant one per EOT tax ID. So if you are a fiscally sponsored organization, you're going to want to check with your fiscal sponsor to see if they're planning on applying. I do think that it is definitely something that to take into consideration in the future, and maybe it may happen this year. You'll hear about it if that changes. But in regards to these Jumpstart grants, because I know there are a lot of really great fiscally sponsored organizations, and we want them to have all the support and love from their sponsors, and it makes stronger organizations when they do. So I definitely will be sharing with our grants team that question was common in regards to those Jumpstart grants. And if you have any questions in regards to that, I can either answer them now or by email. I think that goes over that question. I can also hear what last thing. So just to reiterate, when you go to the GivingMatters, when you go to the Community Found, once you do not have to wait. I should tell you this: you do not have to wait to apply for the grant for your GivingMatters profile to be complete or even initiated. You can do those simultaneously. They just must be, the initiation process must be complete by next Wednesday, and the profile itself must be complete at the same time your application is due, which is August 15th. When I email you, the folks that need a profile initiation started, I will include a link to the CFMT website, which will also include information about our grants. And I would highly recommend checking out our grant guidelines. If you have any questions about what is fundable and what those grant guidelines look like, it answers a lot of questions in regards to that grant. If you do have questions about our grants process, sometimes I can answer them, but it's probably best to reach out to our grants team because they know all the little caveats and things that I just don't know. And you can reach them at grants@cfmt.org. That email will go directly to our vice president of grants, and her name is Landria Lewis. also know that when you're filling out an application, if it's your first time, you probably don't know this, but if you're filling out an application and you're not waiting till the deadline to do it, and you want feedback before you hit send, you can actually reach out to our Vice President of Grants or to Michael McDaniel, who you met on Wednesday or on 2 days ago. And they will give you feedback about what they think the committee would like to see different, or if it's great. So you can email them and they will give you kind of some tips in regards to your grant application before you submit it. They'll also meet with you if you have more questions. So if you wanted to set up a meeting, a one-on-one meeting with them and to talk about what you're thinking about granting, they're always available for that. I will say that our Vice President of Grants is going to be out of town until Wednesday. So if you wait till Wednesday to email her, she will email you back. If not, then you'll get her out of message response. I think that's all the things. I talk so much and so fast. Is there any questions in regards to the process or that I missed from your survey before you joined us? Or here, let me look at the chat and see if I've missed anything. No. Does anybody have any questions at all? Thank you, Tamika. I appreciate that. I really am here to help. I value you all so much for what you provide to our community. You really make me a better professional when I learn about what you're doing. I have a pretty good knowledge about you're welcome, Rosalind. I have a pretty good knowledge about supporting those on the autism spectrum and working with youth in my nonprofit experience, but I can't possibly know everything in regards to the nonprofit community, and you help me understand the other parts of the community that are being touched by your work. And when people come to ask me questions, when I learn about what you do, I can connect them with you. So I appreciate you for making me better at my job too, and I hope that I can return the favor in making this a really simple process for you. I think I'll let you go since it seems like there isn't any questions, but I will be emailing you soon for those who don't have a profile. When you look that email over, if you have any questions, you feel free to reach back out. I will get back to you as soon as possible. I really appreciate your time today and for joining me. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. It's nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
Great day.